Let the dribbling begin. Makes me dribble. Nearly done. 1 minute. Bob back with you today. And today we're going to be talking about hearing protection. Now, I've been waiting a bit on doing this video because it's been a lot of years in the making to some degree. I've always worn hearing protection right from when I started doing engineering work back in the 1980s. And for a few years after that, I got used to wearing hearing protection. And typically those little foam ear plugs, like the orange ones that you see today, and I think they used to be quite sort of square-ended, like they used to be yellow. You would obviously roll them up in your fingers. They didn't have like the bullet tips that the modern ones do. I don't have any of those here because I've been trying to find a solution over the years, along with having a good quality helmet. I've had a number of different types of helmet. It just reduce that after ride noise that you get, and it's a wind noise you get that sometimes lingers after you're done. I think I'm sort of getting there, but we're going to go somewhere with this today. Just want to go over some of the solutions that I've used in the years until what I used recently, and then what we're going to do going forward. And I've got something new to try. So typically things like the rubber silicone now ear stopper. These are called Alpine. Had a bit of a binge on them in the last sort of few months, but Alpine ones, and it comes with a little tool to put them in. You sort of load it into the pusher, and then the pusher sort of just gets, you sort of whack it in your ear. The thing about these was, even though they gave a pretty good hearing protection, is that the little tip here is so small. When that was in your ear, the only little part that was hanging out was really like quite in there. And one day I did put one of them in, and I had to get my tweezers to try and get them out. So they're on the pile of, someone's made money off me, but they're not very good in my opinion. Something similar, and you may have seen these in recent videos, is these Artavive or similar with the hoops and, the whole sort of shooting match of amazing comfort and all day and all of this. Now, I sound a bit cynical on AM because the thing about these is that, again, you can put them in. So it had more of a thing to pull them out. On our recent ride with the boys is that we all bought these. I bought everyone a set, 3 for 1 type of deal. The long duration comfort is not that great. And that's the thing about any of these in-ear pieces of rubber or silicone or foam, particularly the foam wants to expand all the time, is that this just irritates my ear after hours. It just doesn't feel comfortable, doesn't feel very good. Now, I had these ones, I got these ones because I'd been using these ones. Now, these ones are a molded, homemade mold version. Now, these are a bit old, but these mold to your ear. And I'll put one in, and essentially, if you can see that, it just forms to your ear shape. And already I can tell that you give them a twist and put them in, that the hearing protection is significantly dulled. In fact, it sounds like it's just all in my head currently. And they sit flush and they sit in the ear without going into the ear canal to where it's trying to expand. And basically like weeds along the footpath, try and prise your head apart. I've had these for now a number of years and did get another pair made at a bike shop, or probably a couple of years ago with Junibo actually, that were a bit more rubbery, and I'll just say that they weren't suitable. And you'll also notice that because my bike has a communicator, it's got a center. Boys, when we ride together, we all have them on. It's got the option to have a plug-in output to the headphones, so you can get the sound and the communication directly into headphones, as well as into the headset that Senna gives you, which leads me on to this option. Now, these ME professional grade, they call them, and they're called in-ear monitors. And let me just slightly untangle it. And I've been working with these for the past few weeks, where you hook them over your ear. If you're familiar with the music world, you'll know what I'm talking about. Basically, you have a little speaker monitor right there and an earbud. And I've put the long one on to try and just give me that comfort. So goes over the top of your ear and into your ear canal. Now the other end of it plugs directly into the center or an output jack on your headset or communicator, and I think that Cardo does something similar. So you could plug it in. It does sort of do like a delete on the in headset ear one, so you take them out. And you can also run a second line out to a GoPro or a recording device, and you can pick up your conversations. So there's an option here to where I can have hearing protection, but then also the delivery of the Bluetooth function of my phone through the center and through the intercom function of the center when I'm talking to the lads, right directly delivered deep into your ear hole. And I've found these so far in terms of getting the sound quality into my helmet, into my head, the best out of anything. You can turn your speakers right up, but when you've got something like a blanking sort of stopper really that's just closing your ear off, it really is a bit tricky to hear. And as you do ride a bit quicker, just accelerating and just at open road speeds, it tends to take the quality down with the audio. This solution so far I have found in just trying them, even just with the rubber tips, have been significantly better. In fact, I cannot turn it up full bore or even halfway because it's just so loud, because effectively it's delivering the sound right through the ear tip deep into your skull. So what I want to do, and I was looking online just this week, is I want to replace these with a combination of this to make myself my own set of helmet in-ears, but with the molded aspect to try and delete this tip. So what I want to do is mold a new set of these, but then include this by pressing this into the mold while it's setting, and then we'll drill a hole and we'll hopefully capture those and encase those into the new version of these ones, which I have a pack here. These are from Motomox online in New Zealand. Oh, about $50 a packet, something like that. It was about 100 shipped with, and I bought 2 packets because I'll want to replace the orange pair with just a new set, and it's at one half of the catalyst and the second half, they're in equal measure. You cut them into 2, mold them like blue tack or plasticine until it's all the same color, and then you mold it into your ear cavity. And at the same time, I'll be wanting to mold into my still soft within the 10 minutes setting putty this end, so that it really makes a deep impression into that molded article to receive that. And so at the end of that, I'll be able to have them both sort of joined as one. That's the idea. What I need to do now is make up some putty, get ready to do the molding process, and incorporate that into that while we're doing all of that. So this could be interesting, but that's why we're here. Let's get on with that. Right, so 2 parts. We're going to cut that in half in 2 equal parts. We will mix that together, and we'll do 1 ear at a time. You mix it up till it's thoroughly mixed, and then put it in your ear, obviously. And then you put something in your mouth just to keep your jaw slightly open. So I've got this little plastic stick, and it just opens up your mouth so that it has your jaw in the right place, so that when you've got them in, it then seals it up when you've got it in. If you caught that. Right, well, there's nothing else to do except to sort of try it, but I'm not nervous as much as I am just wanting to get it right. So I've got a mirror here to, when it's the putty's in there, sort of put that in and then press that in. And now we have to start kneading and doing it, because once we've started, as they say, there's no turning back. So ears are cleaned, hair's plucked. I think we've got about 10 minutes to work with this, so it's pretty good, and it's quite soft. I don't think it'll harden up in my hand. That's pretty good. That's nice and even. So it's a nice pale, even color. So I will have to put the stick in my mouth now, and things will get a bit, interesting. But this is why I make these things. I'll just hold it there now, I think, for a couple of minutes. crispy dribble. Nearly done. 1 minute. Right, it's actually come out all right, I think. There's a little recess there for it. And we'll trim it and drill it and all the rest of it later, but hopefully it's going to work, so we'll see. Right, 10 minutes on this side now, so let's get this one out. There we go, that one came out in one piece. 2 little holes, that's where the tip of the drivers have got to, so we'll pop a hole through that in a moment. Although I might let them cure, because it does say for 3 hours or so after it's been moulded, and then I think maybe drilling and a bit of work to finish them will be in order later, so we'll come back to that. I drilled the holes, slightly nicked it, but I think it'll be okay. Again, this the driver will cover it up. So that's the right one. It sort of presses in. I think I will glue it in, and I've put the hole through. That's the right one, so I'll try putting it all in. Now I've got some music to play. We'll see how that goes. May have to change where the sound comes through, because it feels a little muffly. And I've got that turned right up, so I'll do some tuning. Right, where we've got to on the dirty towel is the pointy bit, which is sort of the bit that goes into the ear. I've sort of had to cut off a bit, or grind off, Dremel off, because where the little speaker part was coming out, I think was just slightly, this is sort of where the canal bit is, but that's where the speakers ended up coming out similarly on there. So really what I've created at the moment, and I'll try them, I've tried them in my helmet and they've been quite good, is a couple of in-ear speaker holders essentially, and they're a bit chunky. I'm not really actually pleased with them, to be fair, so far. But with the rework here, it has actually meant that the sound can actually get through, and the sound otherwise around my head is very dull. So I'll take them out. We will see what they sound like in working conditions. Out for my walk, and I thought I'd give them a try, and they feel very good at blocking the sound, but this one particularly feels a bit sort of bulky, and I think the alignment of the speakers is probably not the best. I think I need to do a remold, which I will do, and getting the angle of the speaker that goes through the moulding into my ear a little better, so that the sound is making it into the ear canal. I can feel that this one, I think, is probably hitting against the side of my ear, and I can't really hear it as crisply as this side. So I've got one more pack to try, so on to moulding the next lot, I think. It's a bit further along on the walk, and I've taken the monitors out now so that it's just the moulding. Actually, the moulding's quite comfortable, so it really does seem like I've put the monitor in maybe a bit far, or just on a bit of an angle to where the tip is digging into the inside of my ear, because these actually feel quite comfortable. So remold and try and get the angle of when I press the monitor into my ear better, so that it's more comfortable and the sound travels a little bit clearer through to the side of my ear. So good testing. I mean, that's what it's about. I had to do things economically, but it's also a bit of fun. So now I'm just walking around the streets with some blue things in my ear with no speakers, so that's just how that goes. Good job it's early. So I've been for the walk, and I think because I've only got one more set of this and I don't want to waste it, what I might do is take a mould of my older ones. Now these ones I know fit me and they fit well, so what I might do is, I've got this stuff here called Need It, and it's a repair compound, and I've had it just for years, so it's about time I used some. You chop a bit off, and it's got both colours ready to go that need to be mixed with each other. So what I'll do is I'll cut a section off, mix it together, hopefully it's still going to work. And once you do that, it then catalyzes, and I'll put it around this, and then I'll have an impression to put the new blue one into, push it into the mould, and then put this into the right position based on how I can measure it with these ones, based off those ones, on how it sounded, etc. So I'm going to cut some of this, roll it up, and try and make a mould around that. Got plastic on the outside, so I've just trimmed the end off because that was a bit yellow, because I've had it for like years, and then I think we just mix it together. So you're going to knead it for a few minutes, and then you've got a working time. I've mixed it to a uniform colour. It's very sticky. It almost feels a bit prickly from something, but maybe that's the catalyst. This may be goodbye to my old earplugs, but... Right, there's the first one. Well, this is dry, quite dry, and quite stuck on there. But that's okay. All I need to do is get this out. So, there we go. Well, that's come out actually quite nicely. There's quite a good cavity there, and that's the bit that goes through into the ear hole, which is where I want to position my speakers. Right, so that's for comparison, if we can see, that would sit in with this little nozzle pointing right into that hole. So I'll fill this up with blue and then squash that in with the tip pointing right into the hole. This one is dried, so again I'm just going to try and ease this out. Might be a bit tricky to see, but I've just rounded off a little bit in the very end where it goes into the canal for both of them to make like a touch more of like a little pocket, to where I can now drill a hole through as the line indicator for the headset piece. So for instance, this one will tuck in like that, and we'll pull it out a bit, but make sure that the speaker is going to be nicely in line, which I think a hole will do that. Right, the moulds are ready. The little sticks are in. You can see the little stick there. That's just to provide a tube with which to potentially even open it out to slightly bigger, but that's a tube to guide the direction of this angle to the earpiece. I've got the second one done. Hopefully it lines up. I mean, they look about as even as each other, so I'll actually leave them overnight and then just see. They're a bit, I don't know, they look a bit messier than when I did them in my ear, but if it lines up, but you see this one's looking higher to there, and that one's looking more flush, which is what I want. So, you know, it might mean another go. Yeah, we'll get there in the end, I suppose. It's the next morning, so there we are. Oh, it's left the hole in, which is obviously what I wanted, but there we go. No, that's okay. Oh, that one's come out. Brought out the little stick with it. And there we go. So I'll open that up. I've trimmed them up. Actually don't come out too far. They seem to be quite smooth, but the only thing is they're not as, even my old one's not as pretty as that, but the thing really is to check whether they do the sound into the right area, which is the whole point of moulding them this time. And I've got some music on this other device ready to go, so I'll just turn it on. I mean, they fit comfortably, actually. When you do that, is when you have your jaws shut, they don't feel like they're pushing or anything, and there's no plastic tip in this one pushing into my head, which is good. Here we go. Riveting viewing. So I'm just turning it right up. Now I can hear that very evenly each side, and that's not changing how it sounds, which is good. I'm going to pause that, and what I'll do is I'll get my helmet on and put it through the center, which is the whole point of having these devices. That's got a different volume setting on it, and I'll just see how it sounds through the center. Now, just on an initial feel here, it's got the speaker reliefs in the helmet, so they're empty, so it sort of allows any earpiece room to have a bit of room, but that feels good. Because this has got a wider range of volume, I reckon, and it can get quite loud off the unit. So, right, got something playing. bit of specials. So that's on full. I'm going to say it's not as loud as when the tips were on the actual in-ears, and I think that's because it's not. If you remember the airline headphones back in the day used to be almost like a stethoscope, and it would send the sound from the armrest, but just through tubes, like a stethoscope, straight to your ears. It's not quite the same principle, so it's not like this speaker is pushing a lot of sound forward. It needs to be right near the end of the speaker. But, I mean, I'd have to try it on the bike. The main thing is it sounds even. So that's good. But that is cranked right up, and I couldn't do that before with just the tips. So I'll try this on the bike to see how it sounds at road speed. But they're comfortable, and I might mould another pair. I might get another set of things in the post and mould another one that just looks a bit neater, because the putty went off real quick. So let's get on the bike and see how they sound on the road. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. I've got the headset in and it's plugged into the center, and that is Bluetoothed to my phone. That I've got some music currently playing, but I've got that turned right down. So the phone is right up and the center is wheeled right down. And we're going to go to the bike shop, and near the bike shop, I've just discovered this morning, is another store where I can buy some more ear putty, the same stuff I bought, but I can buy it from a local store rather than online. So that's just more convenient for me, because I want to make some more sets, at least one with the headset, maybe another blank set. So we'll keep going along, and I'll turn it up. We'll get onto the motorway soon and see how that sounds. Absolutely corker day here. Okay, so I've just turned it up a little bit, and I think that even with my current configuration, that's louder than with the speakers that Senna have in the helmet, I think. I always felt that you had to really turn that up to hear it properly, but so if I turn the wheel all the way around, you hear a beep, which means it's maximum, and that's pretty loud. So I don't really want to use it to that level, which is good. I'm hoping to have it lower than that without it always being on sort of full max. Let's go to the motorway here, get up to 100k speed, see what we get. Put on some cruise. I'll turn it back up now. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm recording on a separate device, not into the GoPro. Right, that's maximum. And that's too loud. So that's good, because I want to get that sound right close to my ears without it having to be on full noise further away from my ears. So just moving my jaw to see if that makes a difference. It does a tiny bit, but not much. You want to have the sound that's coming through at a really good level in both ears when your jaw is sort of like at a relaxed riding position. I know this all sounds a bit weird for motorcycling, but and here we are at the bike shop. Brilliant. 2 packs that I've found locally rather than the internet, which just means I can get it today, which means I can crack on, replace the ones that are not so brilliantly made, and actually in that original orangey colour. So awesome. Right, I've been prepping, and I put some clear coat like varnish on the moulds. You can see the little toothpick in there, which just stops it from coming through. And it was to provide like a bit of a release onto the mould, so it hopefully comes out a bit easier. I have put some like an alignment, so the tip here has to sort of reach in to touch the tip of the wooden stick, which then provides like a hole, which I can drill out later, but just to get some alignment. But to get these angled right going in, I've sort of, as long as all the tape lines up and this little corner piece rests in this little groove, I think should be aligned enough. And if it's sitting almost flush but sits in an alignment, and obviously the same for this one, because obviously it goes in and around a little bit, but if we can get those things to line up sort of like that, sitting about flush, I think that will be enough to get that in position. So I'm going to mix up the putty and do one, push it in, like fill it quite a bit, and then just really push it in and then smooth it off and see what we've got really. It's the best I can do. Let that one set. We'll do the other one. All right, we'll let them set and hopefully its position is good. Right, I've got it out and it's got the stick. There we go, the little stick, which hopefully goes through to this bit, which it can, because I'll actually just Dremel that bit out. So there they are, they just sort of sit in. The earplug speaker part just sort of nestles into the moulded piece. Doesn't need to be glued. I don't think it just sort of sits there nicely. I'll have like a bandana and my helmet on anyway to sort of hold them into place. So I think this will do the job. So, job done. Well, thanks for joining me on this epic episode of trying to find a solution for riding comfort, lower noise, good sound quality of hearing your communicator or your phone. We've gone from earplugs to other earplugs that were renowned to be the miracle, which weren't. Version 1, version 2, making a mould, buying a whole lot of this stuff, but ending up in the end with these. And so I'll give a review update, I think, in a few weeks or months, just to let you know how they're going. Hopefully I can remember to do that. But the main thing is, it's the building of things, it's the making of things that Bob and Bob's channel is really about, with some rides in as well at times. So if you like doing your own thing, trying to make things, experiment, build your own stuff, then this is the place for you as we do some of those things together. Thanks for watching. If you do like the content, hit the like button, do subscribe to the channel for more completely average content. This is Bob, and until next time, ride safe.